Late, this is what you get.
Good morning. We are going to call our meeting to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before you sit down, I'm sorry, we're going to have everybody remain standing. We'd like to observe a brief moment of silence for Sean Parker, who passed away unexpectedly on February 17th. He was our social program supervisor at the Senior and Adult Services. Was well loved by both staff and clients. If you missed it, Laura Toth put a really heartfelt reflection on his time with the office and how much he'll be missed. So we're just extending our thoughts and prayers to Sean's family and the staff as they go through this time of mourning, and we'd ask you to give a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Now let's please bow your head for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage, that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 18th meeting and also the special meeting on February 19th.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion, changes, additions? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Moving on, we have a full house today. Are there any public comments regarding pending resolutions at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to our resolutions. Jeremy Cinco, sanitary engineer, kicking us off. Morning, Jeremy.
Morning, everyone. Just one change order, or one resolution for today, authorizing change order number 1 for the 2nd Street Water and Sewer Main Replacement Project.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Holly Mirren from HR.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have 2 resolutions for you. Our personnel changes resolution, we have 3 new hires, 2 in sanitary, 1 at county home, 1 promotion in building, 6 rate increases, 2 in transit, 3 at job and family services, and 1 in sanitary, 2 retirements, 1 at job and family services and 1 in sanitary, 2 resignations, 1 at job and family services and 1 at solid waste district, and 1 deceased at senior and adult services. Our second resolution is amending the table of organization for Medina County Maintenance Department.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 resolutions.
Second the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Finance. Brett.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I have 4 resolutions for you. 3 of them are pretty quick, and then our 4th is our big one. First resolution is expenses of county officials. We have nobody that's going out of state, though we do have a couple larger ones for veteran services, as well as the clerk of courts. Our second resolution is our weekly bills in the amount of $1,362,862.16. And then our third resolution is submission of the local jail's capital improvement project application for grant funding through House Bill 2. This is for the Sheriff's Office for the jail security platforms. They are working on updating those and are hoping that they might be able to secure a little bit more funding. The application is in the amount of $441,500. And then our 4th and final resolution, our annual budget has been completed. There are a number of changes in this budget as we update our accounting standards. I hope that anybody that is particularly curious about the end results will reach out to me personally or my department, and we'll do our best to answer any questions. Other than that, all I have for you is to get that approved and wrapped up.
I will make a motion to approve the 4 resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Thank you for all the work from everybody in finance and also all of our department heads and elected officials, because that is always a big undertaking, but I'm glad to have it ready to move forward. Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
County Administrator Matt Springer. Matt, good morning.
Good morning. I have 4 resolutions for your consideration.
The first one is authorizing a 1-year extension for the yard waste management services. This is with the Smith Brothers. There is a slight increase from $27 a ton to $28 a ton. The second resolution is authorizing the Drug Task Force to add a seized vehicle to their fleet. This would be used for undercover operations. The third is the submission of an F-class temporary liquor permit at the Medina County Fairgrounds. And then the fourth and final is JFS will be adding a vehicle to their fleet to be used to transport youth across the state of Ohio.
I'll make a motion to approve the four resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, moving on to department updates. We'll start with Debbie Kiley. Good morning, Debbie.
First two resolutions for your consideration this morning. The first is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from the JFS Children's Services Fund to our Public Assistance Fund. And then the next one is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds for our child support administration and RMS expenditures.
I will make a motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second, any discussion? Roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
And just two updates for you, and I'm handing you a heavy bunch of documents. Ooh, one's for me. There you go.
Just two updates in that thick document.
Yeah, yeah. The public assistance update for you guys is the state of Ohio is launching a multi-factor authentication, an MFA, process for all individuals who wish to access our portal for public assistance benefits. The enhancement, I get it. It's meant to enable a safer sign-on for users because they're entering some of their personal identifiable information. So it's safeguarding their identities. The launch is expected this spring, March 28th. And while we certainly welcome this safer sign-on process, counties are a bit concerned about the transition and then the ongoing user access. For the MFA, it requires a user to create an ID, but then also have either an active email address or a cell phone number so that they can receive either a phone call, not even a cell phone, but landline, or a text message saying, is this really you? I think we've all experienced that when we're signing into you name it. So the state of Ohio is doing that. So at first sign on, for most individuals, it's likely to be successful, but a lot of our populations are sometimes not super tech savvy, or they don't have an active email address, and finding internet access to access that email address. And some of our individuals also change phone numbers with a pretty great frequency. So updating their phone number before they change their phone number could prove somewhat problematic too. We've also received notice that MFA identity proofing software is a bit prickly. It's also the same as what the Ohio BMV uses too. And you can only have one user ID. Like I have a user ID for Job and Family Services. So if I go in and I want to renew my license, it's going to recognize me as Debbie Kiley with Job and Family Services. It's a bit frightening because I'm like, wait, how do you know that? And I don't have a driver's license through Job and Family Services. So it can be a little confusing for users too, because they'll need to identify themselves as, yes, that's the user ID I used for the BMV, but now I need to use it for my Ohio Benefits self-service portal. We have some reports from users who have run into those problems. So we're kind of presuming the same thing is going to happen when this rolls out to our clients. Because it's a state of Ohio software, we can't help. All I can do is provide them this, and it's somewhat frightening that it's 40 pages long. That gives me some pause that it's that extensive. The instructions to us are that extensive. So we're a little fearful that some applicants will just bail on this and come into the agency or request an application be mailed to them. So it's not the end of the world. We can still get services to them, but being able to access that online portal, they can also check the status of their application once we update it, what verifications are still pending. So I'm sure it will be ironed out in the future, but just this launch, I wanted to have this information in front of you in case, Rhonda, you're getting calls. And I actually sent a digital link to this to your email. It should be arriving as we speak, so that you guys at least have it in case any constituents contact you.
Among the assistance they can get in your office, can your office help them through this process too, so they'll have access going forward, or is this something only they can do?
It's we don't have computers available at our office, probably in the numbers that we might need. Right. If they have it on their phone and it's like a mobile, because you could do this mobily too, we could probably walk them through that. But then it's also like, I want to be really careful that it's like when they're here, I'm going to type in my password, that our staff is like doing this and not seeing their password as they enter it. So I'm hoping that I'm being overly pessimistic, but we will figure it out. And then lastly, for Children's Services, just a quick save the date for this year's Rising Up and Moving On Awards breakfast. It's on April 10th at the Galaxy in Wadsworth. It is a breakfast, so usually we start around 7:30, but formal invitations should be going out to you all and to many of our community partners next month. We're providing awards to recognize different individuals and organizations that have showed us their amazing partnership to help the children in Medina County. And those categories, I sound like I'm at the Oscars. The categories are Helping Hands, Community Partnership, Law Enforcement Partnership, Kinship Family Excellence, individuals who have excelled in our sobriety and treatment program through our START initiative. And then also we're going to award 2 youths for Rising Up and Moving On for their exceptional achievements. So just a quick update for you to mark your calendars.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, Debbie. Thanks. Next up, Shannon Ryan from Transit.
Good morning.
Good morning.
January 2025 continued to be strong for us with the ridership. I think we're kind of normalizing into a reduced miles, which is going to benefit us throughout this whole year. We only had 1 trip denial. I think that had a lot to do with the team. I always recognize them for their hard work and the cooperation with the clients that call. Just a couple things that I'll note. Our operating expenses went up a little bit. That was because of a retiree that happened at the end of last year, which activated in the month of January. So that's why that went up. We looked at that to go back down in the future. Looking at our monthly contract summary, knowing that, our office, I should say, not our office for adults, our SAS, I got to make sure that changes. It's important to know that the seniors are getting the transit needs, their transit needs met. I'm really happy to make sure that we provide service all over the county. We're providing some long distance trips right now. They're going farther and farther across the county. That's just a note. And our job and family partnerships with Ace Taxi is really helping us to provide the out-of-county trips, but there was a reduction in the month of January. Just a couple any questions? Just a couple other updates. I'll be attending a March conference with ODOT, Operators Conference. It's a lot about benchmarking funding, which is a big topic. Our grants will be awarded for the state later on in a couple of months, so kind of leveraging that. And we're in our ever affectionate known as our audit season for transit. We have a Trend and Review going on. We are submitting right now, and they'll be here for an on-site visit in September. So just a lot of things that we have a new staff, but they're doing great to make sure we provide the service and provide the auditing and the reporting that we need to the FTA. So I think we'll be in good shape. I know what they'll be looking for, and we're going to try to get ahead of that.
Great. I know your team too has been very. It's been a tough winter weather-wise, and you guys have been very proactive in terms of on some of these cold days and communicating with riders and rescheduling rides. And so, big kudos to you and your entire group
Thank you
for
that.
working through what's been a rough winter for everybody. So,
It could have been worse.
okay, good. We'll hold you to that. Then. Any other
I've
questions?
seen worse.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Next up, Ed Zachary, veterans. You're getting
Alphabetical, isn't it?
Yeah, you were getting kind of comfortable back there, I think.
All right, we'll start out on page 4. First of all, covers calendar year 2024. We provided financial relief to 365 individuals, 99 individual families throughout Medina County for calendar year 2024. That's an increase of 65% from last year. We had, for some reason, the end of this year, the financial assistance kind of rose up pretty quick. Don't know if that's heating bills or what the real reason is. The second graph on that page represents the $317,557.54 of vouchers we wrote. We paid out $312,443.93. The average amount spent per veteran per visit is $870.02. Additionally, we spent $1,751 on dental care for veterans. That program was utilized really well until last year. For some reason, we don't know if it was the move. but it just kind of dropped for some reason. We were spending about $20,000 a year, and last year was only $1,700. Maybe we fixed everybody's teeth, I don't know, but we're hoping that veterans continue to use it. We have 15 active veterans organizations throughout the county that we do business with and talk to, get our resources from. We stay actively engaged with them. There's also the Veterans Coalition and the Veterans Memorial Fund, which is a 501c3, which paid out about $50,000 this year to veterans that we couldn't serve, but we were able to turn over to the Memorial Fund, and they were able to help. The medical services are still provided. We transport to Akron, Parma, and Lewis Stokes down on Wade Oval. We transported 827 veterans to medical appointments at those 3 locations this year. And additionally, we paid out for 2,150, and Shannon left, 2,159 rides through the Medina County Public Transit for people to get around the county and do shopping and things like that. 15 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long, we partnered with the Parma Vet Center to provide 2 social workers to come out here and provide psychological counseling to our combat veterans and their families. We saw 247 veterans this year with those appointments, and we also do group sessions twice a month in our building for them. There's 2 group homes that are sponsored by the VA in Medina County. We work with a lot of the veterans that live there to provide different services. Nothing financially direct. Most of the work we do for them is with the VA. We did 491 compensation and pension claims for the VA last year through our office. Our total inventory currently is 382 claims and 19 appeals in our case log for the Department of Veterans Affairs. We filed 491 of those were compensation and pension, and then there was 789 more what we call like ancillary type benefits that we filed. We also filed 90 appeals to the Department of Veterans Affairs. We assisted 2,317 veterans and family members with some type of claim work through the VA. And all in all, through everything we do, we saw 3,144 clients last year in calendar year 2024. So we're booming, even with the move and all. $110 million was 2023's numbers. We're expecting that to stay pretty much on average this year. We've seen some large increases in the past. We don't expect a huge increase for 2024 when that GDX comes out, though, in May. As far as the Ohio Department of Veterans Services, the 2 benefits that we file for them was the Military Injury Relief Fund. We did 8 of those for $4,000. And the bonus, which expired in August, we did 43 last year, which is the most we did out of the 15 years it's been going. So everybody knew it was ending. A lot of people jumped on board and came and filed the bonus for $25,310 through the state. Our operating expenses, other than the build, pretty much stayed the same. The construction project boosted us up a little bit for the year, but most of that came out of funding from you 3. Thank you very much. But we did have some larger expenses, about $100,000 over what we normally spend for that. Operationally, it stayed the same. We were able to provide the same services to our veterans that we did. Even, we didn't really miss a beat, I would say. I think we moved in 3 days. When we moved out of the building, we moved back in 3 days. We still provided transportation. I think everything went really smooth for what happened and what we did. The garage space, I got to say, I was talking to Aaron earlier, with the cold winter, the veterans are really, people actually come in and go, man, the vans are nice to be warm in the morning. So, the people are appreciating what we did over there, and that's always good to know that the money was spent well. So it's been a very cold winter, and the vans have been nice and warm. Let's see, we did overall financial assistance was up this year from the previous year. What's changed and what we changed? Our staffing, we're at 100%. We promoted 1 person, added 2, so we're fully staffed for what we currently think we need for several years moving forward. 4 of those are now accredited, so that brings us to the training and everything else that we have to go to. We originally had 1 accredited, then we went to 2 accredited. Now we're at 4 accredited personnel. So they're the ones that got to go to the state and travel for the accreditations. So we do 2 out-of-state travels a year. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to flip-flop. We're going to send 2 people 1 year, 2 people the next year, and we're going to try to do some online stuff with them to keep them accredited. So it's kind of a balancing game, but we need to keep those accreditations in order to have access through the VA to serve our veterans. We continued to do a lot of outreach. We had 6, these are just a couple of outreaches, the big ones that we did here. We pretty much sign up. If someone asks us to come out and talk to them, we go. So, I mean, that's even all the advertising we do and everything else, talking to people is the best thing we can do. And in closing, we just continue to ensure the veterans are aware of their benefits and get what they want. And I want to say a big thanks to everybody that provided support for the building, the move. There was a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people that helped throughout the county, people that worked for the county and people that didn't. And I just want to say thank you for all the efforts that everybody did. So,
Great. Thanks for keeping up the good work. Great picture on the front.
You like
there,
that?
too.
Yeah, really
Who took
nice.
that?
I did.
Did you? Yeah, that's nice. Nice shot.
Good one.
Any
Saw
questions?
that, Sarah. That's pretty good, right?
All right.
Questions? Thanks, Ed.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next is public comment. We have a lot of folks in the room. Any public comment today? We have some discussion session coming up. I know some folks are here. Yeah. And when you come up, just make sure you give your name and address for the record as well, so we get that right.
I am simply going to read from this. I provide this to you for your information,
Great.
so that when this issue does arise, that you will be informed.
Okay.
My name is Mark Zalea. I'm from Wadsworth, and I thank you for the time. We wish to address the proposed annexation of 17 acres of land in Wadsworth, Ohio. And those 17 acres are a proposed housing unit, a townhouse unit of 136 townhouse units placed on 17 acres of land. This originally came to Wadsworth City Council on February 18th. Now, it wasn't advertised, but 50 members of the city and township attended this meeting so that they could voice their objections to this development. And let me be clear to the commissioners here. I'm not against development, but I am against the wrong development in the wrong place. The proposed development directly affects 50 Sunnyside Township residents who are either immediately adjacent to or within the water well aquifer parameters. There are multiple reasons why this proposed development is poorly considered, given the proximity to single home properties that have been established in Wadsworth Township for over 40 years. The developer did not indicate an environmental impact study would be conducted in this development. We consider this a huge mistake because the development's going to affect the quality of life for all of those people in the township. I wish to be as brief as possible in this presentation, and I'll try to go as fast as I can, but there are multiple reasons why this should be denied once it reaches the desk of the county commissioners. As a resident who lives 40 yards from the proposed development, I'm concerned about my wells and the wells of my neighbors. The proposed development will contaminate the quality and deteriorate the water levels of our wells. Some of the wells in that area are as shallow as 30 feet, while others are deeper. Alternative Wadsworth City water is not directly accessible. Therefore, infrastructure will be necessary to be developed and land reclaimed to remedy the loss of our wells. This is not a hardship that the township or the county should bear. Since the wells have been soundly established for decades, the sole cause of the compromised wells, and it will happen, and the water levels that will diminish will be solely attributed to the Alcott Wadsworth development. For this reason, the residents are entitled to the developer posting a 10-year bond of $3 million to cover the cost of new water services that will affect these 50 households. While the bond requirement may seem excessive, the developer indicates that this project is a 4-year project, and it's going to inconvenience everybody in these areas. There's going to be the need for bottled water when our wells are contaminated, and we will need filters, surveying, massive excavation, repair to township roadways, reclamation of owners' properties, piping, plumbing, hookup, in-home water filtration system. The list could go on. As a resident of my home for 25 years, I can attest to the 17 acres that are proposed for development has massive water retention, and that's necessary to feed nearby ponds and wells. I've also witnessed occasional flooding in the Sunnyside areas due to heavy rains. Development of the 17 acres will cause massive water runoff. By destroying the existing water retention of 10 acres of soil, they're going to take out of the 17 acres, 10 acres are going to be concreted, asphalt, and roofed. And the concentrated water mitigation of that in force and volume will cause flooding all over the place. Currently, we have seen flooding at the corners of Wills and Milson Road, and then down the road on Wilson Road at its lowest point between the roads of Brook and Archwood. Repeated flooding is going to destroy those township roads there. That's going to be an expense to the county. It's not a question of if this is going to occur, but when. I have on my phone video of the flooding that has occurred in the past, and now we're going to take 10 acres of land and cover them over. Those 10 acres of land in a 1-inch rainstorm will produce 271 gallons of water. 271,000 gallons of water in a 1-inch rainstorm on 10 acres of land. That water has nowhere to go. Our tributaries and creeks can't handle it. So, in summation, those are 2 reasons why it shouldn't happen. Just very briefly, there are a dozen more. Excessive household to property density, 136 homes on 17 acres. And that includes the 3 roads that are going through there. Deterioration of the township roads. The heavy equipment used in construction, the township roads aren't equipped to handle that. Deterioration of existing township roads once you increase the traffic flow after the development. An additional 200 vehicles are going to be up and down our roads. Limited and dangerous sight lines for the access to the development at Hartman Road. There'll be increased accidents. It's going to decrease the property values of all of the township residents. And I'm here because, frankly, Wadsworth doesn't care about me. I'm a township resident. And to quote one of the Wadsworth City Council people, we have to do what's right for Wadsworth. So I'm here appealing to you to at least give it some consideration to deny the annexation. I've taken enough of your time. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. This will cross your desk at some point in time in the future.
Thank you. Is it Mr. Zaleja?
Zaleja. Yeah.
Zaleja. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any additional public comment? No? Then we will move on to discussion session. And I know there's a lot to cover in discussion session. Let's start. Well, Jake, do you have anything from economic development? Okay. Anything from auditor? No. Matt, do you have anything? Okay. I just want to mention before we get to the other items, there is a special commissioners meeting which will not be broadcast for one specific topic that we thought was too all-consuming to put as part of this meeting. So that will convene at 10:30. It will be in this room. After we adjourn this meeting, we'll come back for that one. But that is a public session, so I just wanted to at least make it clear that that was the intention to have an additional public session after this one, call everybody's attention to that. But with that, Colleen, I'll turn it over to you.
Are we going to announce why we're having that?
We're thank you to discuss the county home facility. So I think Greg will be here and engineers, and there's been some issues, structural issues there that warrant some discussion.
A crumbling foundation of the 1895 building.
Right.
And we have an architect evaluate it and issued a full report for us last week, and we'll be discussing what to do about that.
So that will be, and that seems to warrant the standalone meeting, and we'll cover the other things that we need to in this one. But with that, Colleen, do you want to kick us off?
So
I went out of order.
Sure.
I'm really excited. So I hope everyone understands that I may be a little nervous in this presentation, but an opportunity has arisen regarding the University of Akron property here in Medina County. And the general public may not know this, but the county commissioners have always held first right of refusal on this property. So when the university expressed an interest in selling this property, I had been in contact with several University of Akron officials over the last few years. Should they ever have the intention of selling the property or doing any modifications in how the property was running. So they have expressed an interest, and they did contact us, and Chris Jacob and I and Steve Chrisman have been talking to potential executives there. So the county commissioners authorized Chris Jacob to go out and negotiate a potential sale of this property with the University of Akron. And so today, I have presented the board with a memorandum of intent between the University of Akron and the Medina County Commissioners for the sale of the Medina County University Center. So should we endorse this, then Chris would continue to work on a final property sale contract with the university. And for a few years, Representative Sharon Ray and Superintendent Steve Chrisman have been talking together about additional space needs for our Medina County Career Center. And should this sale of this property be completed, I would also ask the board to direct Chris Jacob to negotiate a long-term lease with the Medina County Career Center for the expansion of their adult education programs. Not only is this a huge need in our community and would be a wonderful opportunity for our community, but it also would have the benefit of freeing up space at their main campus to be able to take additional students. In addition, we have previously rented space at this facility for our sheriff's office. The sheriff will have needs that will continue for training and hopefully additional training opportunities, which I think he'll speak of today. So we also hope to incorporate his needs in this mission. So before I move forward with some of the other speakers on this issue, I wanted to know if you two had any thoughts.
Well, as we've discussed, obviously, I was on the board when we were working with the University of Akron. Tom Barr was there, as well as Pat Geisman. We were working with our state legislator, as well as Chuck Calvert at the time. And the intent was for this property, which was originally county home property and a field that had been, as I'll just say, the property had been used for decades for those purposes. The intent was to have that property developed with a technology park associated with the University of Akron and programming for education. So first and foremost, it was about education. And with this potential, that we made sure that there was that option, that right of first refusal. That was the intent, that should the University of Akron not use it anymore for education, that the commissioners would have the ability to make sure it was continuing to be used for education. And I'm all in on the idea of, and working with the Career Center, being able to make sure that this property continues to be available for educational purposes and county purposes. So with this, as I understand it, that it essentially would be working a final sale from the state of Ohio. And I know there's a process. You have to go through a lot of checks and balances, as well as the General Assembly, Controlling Board, or whatever. You have to go through it all. But I think this is a good deal, not only for the University of Akron, it's a great deal for Medina County, and even a better deal for the future students of our Career Center and Medina County.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a huge win both for the Career Center and its students and future students. It's a huge win for the community. Appreciate your leadership on this and all the work of Representative Ray and the sheriff and Mr. Chrisman and everybody who's kind of come together in this process to make it happen. Also, Chris Jacob, who's not here today, played a big role in kind of handling the negotiations once we had given that initial.
He did a lot.
Yeah. So I think it's a really exciting time. That facility is first class, and with first class leadership and operations that I know that are going to come from the Career Center's involvement, it's exciting to think about what it can be. So.
Well, I'd like to bring up Superintendent Steve Chrisman to make any comments that he would like to make.
Thank you for an opportunity to speak. It's very humbling, what you have just said. I can tell you that the Career Center has seen unprecedented growth in the last several years, and that's due to a variety of reasons. I saw a social media post from 4 years ago where we posted that on our first chance application night, we had accepted 350 applications for 500 spots. We were celebrating that. Fast forward to just 2 weeks ago, we took in 608 applications on the first night and another 100 over the next several days. We're up over 850 applications, so we are begging for space. Last year, we were fortunate in working with the Ken Cleveland Foundation. We built an additional 17,000 square foot facility so that we could double the capacity for construction trades, and we started a construction electricity program to make capacity. Our board at the same time showed some concern that we were turning away 200 to 250 students every single year. So one of our board members who's here today, Dennis Matson, said, why don't we just offer tuition free to anybody 18 to 24 who's graduated from a Medina County school, regardless of what school it is. It was a revolutionary thought. It is not something we replicated from someone else. It is Mr. Matson likes to throw a lot of things to me and see if any of it sticks, and that one in fact did. And so our adult education program has exploded. At the same time the adult education program is exploding, we have started in the process with the Ohio Board of Nursing to start a nursing program. We'll be the only nursing program in Medina County, which ironically the University of Akron set up a $700,000 facility with the purpose to start a nursing program, and it has not been utilized at all. I couldn't replicate that lab today for $700,000, so it's going to be exciting to do that. I also authorized our director of our emergency program, our EMT fire program, to start a paramedic program as well. So we are excited about the opportunities that could potentially be out there. I'm excited to continue to work with Sheriff Grice. It's always fun to be with him. It seems like every time he shows up on my property, I lose a little bit of it. So I lost a 2.5 acre driving pad. I lost a 4-bay garage. Anytime we can partner with the sheriff's office, it's a fantastic thing. And over the last 6 or 7 years, we did collaborate and started the driving pad. We did start the Take Control driving program there with a lot of collaboration. Make no doubt about it, Medina County is the most collaborative county you could possibly fathom. We have also started, he is extremely involved in our adult ed law enforcement program, and just everything that we do together. So when Terry thought there was an opportunity for space, he said, you know, friend, we could kind of do this together. And so I'm excited because a portion of that facility is going to be dedicated to the sheriff's office, so the thought of 24-hour security is absolutely enticing. So I would close by saying by helping us, Commissioner Swedick and other commissioners, you have provided opportunities not only for our adult education expansion, but also about a 10% footprint within our current facility that we can grow. We grew 153 students last year, so much so that we went to the Board of Education and they allowed us to hire another math, science, social studies, counselor, transition coordinator, and VOSI to help with the capacity of all these new students. My hope and wish is in March or April, I return to my Board of Education and ask for another go around to do that again. So what I would close with is what Commissioner Swedick has done for us is just blows me away. But I would be absolutely sad if I didn't pull up the fact that our state representative Sharon Ray, in the 10 years I've been this is my 11th year as superintendent, 15th year at the Career Center, no political figure has done more for the Career Center than Representative Ray. You will see a fire tower constructed in the next 3 months. That would not have been possible without her involvement. The original meetings we had with the University of Akron presidents, both of them were present. I can tell you unequivocally, not one of us could have done it alone. The commissioners probably couldn't, the Career Center couldn't, the sheriff's office couldn't, the state representatives. But when Medina County people come together, there's nothing we can't do, and I'm very appreciative to live here. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up Representative Ray, because I'd like her to come up and say a few words now, too.
I'd just like to point out that C is for Colleen and collaboration, two things that make this project come together. And I'm very excited about that. I am so excited to be here today for the announcement of the tentative agreement between the Medina County Commissioners and the University of Akron for the purchase of the Medina University Center. The type of cooperation and collaboration between these entities was driven by one goal: to provide Medina County residents with the career and technical opportunities they need in today's economy. This was a vision of Commissioner Colleen Swedick and Medina County Career Center Superintendent Steve Chrisman, and their determination and dedication was truly infectious. Remember when we had lunch a few years ago? And we said we'd make it worth your while? I think we have. I think we have. In the end, their commitment to Medina County will potentially result in decades of additional opportunities for our residents. A special thank you to the University of Akron for their commitment to keeping the Medina facility an educational opportunities center in Medina County for decades to come. This is a great day for the University of Akron, Medina County, and most importantly, the thousands of residents who will benefit from this agreement. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you. You're so cute. I'd like to bring up.
I didn't know we were allowed to hug.
Okay. I'd like to bring up Sheriff Grace now.
I'll take your hug.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. It was 4 years ago when I was sworn in, and I brought up the phrase that titles are temporary, but relationships last a lifetime. And everyone that's come up here has talked about that. Relationships, right? The collaboration. None of us could do this on our own. Representative Ray and I had a conversation, and it just was a conversation, and look what it developed into because of our hard work. Commissioner Swedick, right? We talked about this 2 years ago when you approached us about the lease, and the commissioners were helpful. This isn't just a benefit for the students, but it's also a benefit for law enforcement, and not just the sheriff's office, because we're going to open it up to other regional partners. And that's really what it's about, opening up opportunities. And then obviously we have an area inside the facility for storage. Again, partnerships have helped us with probably over $1.2 million in vehicles and equipment, from grants through federal, state partners, local, that now they're not just sitting outside, right? And we're able to really generate something that somebody had just said this, I think Representative Ray said, generational. We'll all be gone, right? People will be in our positions, but this will continue on. And that's what I think is so special about it and so unique. So it's fun to look around the room and see who all played a part in it, because none of us, like we said, could do this on our own. And Mr. Chrisman and I are our friends, and that's important. Now, he says he lost land. I look at it as he gained something. but it absolutely is true to be able to look across the room and say, hey, this is special. And you were right on when you said Medina County does things that most other counties don't. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of your support and friendship. I'm going to take the hug on behalf of Mr. Chrisman.
Thank you. Well, last but certainly not least, that we couldn't have done this without the cooperation of the University of Akron. So I would like to bring up the representative today from the University of Akron, Matt Akers.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Swedick. Thank you for the other commissioners, too, for your support and work on this. Thank you, as many have already said, Representative Ray. There's just no way we could have done this without her. So thrilled that the superintendent will be able to continue to use that facility for its educational purpose. It accomplishes a lot, I think, for both of us, for Medina County, for the Career Center, for the University of Akron, and we are just thrilled. I will just read, we're actually going to have a little statement that goes to some of our folks. So I'll just very briefly read two short paragraphs that I think really sum up our view from the universities. We are excited about this partnership with the Medina County Commissioners, as this agreement not only supports the growth and development of educational programs in Medina County, but also aligns with the University of Akron's strategic goals of optimizing our resources and improving the overall student experience. The sale allows the University of Akron to consolidate our physical footprint and be responsive to the changing preferences of local students. The university will continue to offer educational programs at its Akron and Wayne campuses, online and in local high schools, ensuring that students can access affordable education in a variety of ways. And I know, again, just thrilled that the Career Center here in Medina County will be able to utilize the facility. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Matt. Okay, so with that in mind, as soon as we do the resolution, I would like everyone involved to come get a picture for Sarah. But I'd like to present a resolution approving a memorandum of intent between the University of Akron and the Medina County Commissioners for the sale of the Medina County University Center.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. We've had ample discussion. Is there anything else to add? No? Thank you to everybody for their work, and I'll call for the roll, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
All right, could everyone come up who's involved? We'll get a picture for Sarah.
Look at that, Brian just happened to know.
Brian,
He heard the clarion call.
it's almost like Steve, you get in the center here. Come on up.
Thank you. Yeah.
Come on up. No, you should.
Come on, guys.
Come on up. Yeah, we
Yeah,
go
we
on
need-
the other side.
we need more
Steve,
center around.
Steve, we have people, Terry, get in here. Get in here.
Do I look short now?
Only if you look tall next to us. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Excited. Congrats. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much. Okay, and we have one more item for discussion session regarding issue 2. Steve, do you want to take that?
Yeah,
one first?
thank you. I just need to, there is a ballot issue on the May ballot. The General Assembly placed it on there. It's essentially renewal, or it's actually an increase of the bond issue when it comes to state. The Constitution provides safeguards that the state of Ohio doesn't go out and borrow a lot of money, unlike our federal entity, and because we don't print it, they have to balance everything. The Constitution says that anything beyond has to be approved by the voters. So this will essentially keep the state capital improvement program, which we have known for several decades, which provides funding for bridges, highway construction, water, bridges, highways, I'll just say sewer projects and so forth throughout the community. There are regional boards that oversee it and provide recommendations. Medina County has benefited not only in terms of grants, but also 0% interest loans to expand this infrastructure. We're talking about millions of dollars every year that comes to Medina County. It is not a tax increase. It just authorizes the state to issue $250 million in bonds every year that go for this infrastructure. So at this point, we're advocating as a Board of Commissioners that the communities and that all voters support this issue when it comes on the May 6th ballot.
And yeah, I definitely support that. I know it's been a good program. It's well established. We are not taking action today.
No, just put it on
discussion
the for discussion for it.
Certainly
So.
support putting that.
I totally support this resolution.
Yep.
Yep. And probably very few people know that it's on the ballot. So you can't. The one thing I've learned for those of us that have been involved in public office, you never take the voters for granted. You inform them, you let them know what this is about, and obviously you trust their judgment. And as much as it is important to us, I know there's a lot of other issues that are out there. I know there's some school levies on the ballot, but this is one that's important to every community. Certainly the county engineers, the county commissioners. All the villages and cities, as well as the entire state, to make sure that our infrastructure is maintained and continues to expand where it's appropriate.
Additional
All
comments?
right, thanks.
No,
Anything
totally
else for
support
discussion?
it. No.
Anything else for discussion?
Nope.
I don't have anything either, and seeing nobody else popping their head up.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
No, we're going to recess, or is that a
We're gonna-
special meeting?
That's special, separate.
Special meeting? Okay, second the motion then.
Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. We're adjourned for about 15 minutes.
Sarah?